Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. This week I've got some diagnostic tools I'd like to share with you, starting from entry level all the way through to a little bit more advanced. I'll get on with it. Most useful tool, I would say, is one of these. Test light. Really simple. It's just a 12 volt bulb. Clip one end to positive or negative. When you make the circuit, it lights up. Invaluable tool for all manner of things, testing electrical circuits on a vehicle. The next thing, which I find really invaluable, you've seen this, I've used this many times, and that's my digital multimeter. This one's not a very expensive one, but it's accurate enough for what I need. You don't need to have the most accurate thing in the world when you're diagnosing normal electrical circuits, because normally you're only measuring continuity, or you want to measure the voltage, which is normally 12 volts or 24, depending on what you're working on. Or it could be 6 volts if it's a motorcycle, but anything in that ballpark. Doesn't have to be mega accurate. The more accurate it is, the better, and the more you trust your machine, the better. The very, very cheap ones are absolute garbage. I have got a very cheap one. This is the very cheap one that I bought. Not very exciting, and I found that it's not very accurate either. It will waver. So you want to buy something half decent. These are only about £2 or £3, and they are garbage. This one, on the other hand, was about £12, £14, and it's a power fix one from Lidl's, but I found it fairly accurate, and it does everything I need. Does amps, up to 10 amps, checks little batteries, checks ohms and volts, and AC and DC. Invaluable tool if you're working on electrical circuits. This one is a small amp clamp. Most useful when you're working with a battery drain. Just clamp that round the cable, and it tells you how many amps that are being drawn. Not a very expensive one, this. I can't remember what I paid for this. I think it was about £25 or £30, and it's a sort of next level up of multimeter, really. This one's got a thermocouple on it as well, so you can measure temperature, and it does all the same things that this one does, more or less. So yeah, it will measure DC amps, which is very useful for in the automotive field. Okay, another interesting little tool, a useful thing to have, little battery tester. Tells you whether your battery is good or bad. Powers up by clipping that to the battery, and then you just put in the number of cold cranking amps or whatever, whether it's a flooded battery or whatever. Press OK, and it'll give you a readout on state of charge and whether it's the battery's any good. Quite a useful thing to have, because you can't always tell by measuring the voltage whether the battery is good or not. Then I have this test light, which is slightly different from the other one in that this is a digital one, and it has a digital readout here. Nice little pointed tip on the end, so you can pierce wires if necessary. This is slightly better quality than that one, but that will do the job. Nice to have. Saves you getting a multimeter out. I have got a little cheap tester here for 4 and 5 pin relays. Plug it on the battery, press to decide whether it's 4 pin or 5 pin, press test. It runs through all the terminals, and if all is well, the little light lights up to say it's good. Lights up green, and if it lights up red, then it's a throwaway. I have this very old Gunson's remote starting device. You just clip one side to your power, one side to the solenoid on the starter, and then when you press this, it turns the starter. Handy to have when you're doing compression tests or anything like that. To go with my multimeter, I have got this little kit, all the leads, so that you can plug into various connectors without damaging the pins, and the little sockets, all different sizes, different size spades, bullets, and little pointed items to back probe. Got those in a bit of sponge so I don't stick myself in the finger. And it came with these little probes so that you can put a cable in there and just screw that up and it pierces the cable, plug into the back, and Bob's your auntie. Little bit on the expensive side for all these things, but very, very handy when you need to plug in. I've got a really cheap test light, 12 volt, works 100% for what you need, and you could get away with this for loads of different jobs. It's just a very handy little thing. It's only a couple of pounds. I've got one of these things which is like a little power probe, made by Sealy. Very handy. Bit of an annoying squawk though when you press the button, and there's no way to turn it off. It's either on or off, but you can determine whether something's got an earth or whether it's positive or negative or whatever. You can put power to things, positive or negative. As you press positive, it puts positive charge to the tip. As you press negative, it puts a negative charge to the tip, and this is what you clamp to what you're testing. And comes with a reasonably long cable which will reach to the back of the car, so you can test bulbs and things, tail light bulbs, things like that. And going up a notch, I have this one, which again is a Sealy, but it's a power scope. It's got the same idea. The tip plugs in, there it is there, and you can actually plug any banana jack straight into there. Has its little lights here. It's got 3 different settings on it, again positive and negative with a button. It's got a continuity setting which tells you how many ohms things are, and a little tiny scope, and you switch between them with this button here, and it actually has a beep on it, the same as the other one, but you can turn the beep off, which is nice. And this came with a similar amount of cable to the other one, but it also comes in the pack with a spare cable so that you can plug into it and go to the back of a truck. I mean a 40-foot long truck. And it also comes with a very useful cigarette lighter socket, so you can plug it in the cigarette lighter. This was quite expensive, I think it was about £70, but I've used it quite a few times and it is worth its weight when you need to power something up or just check something quickly. And that's the power scope probe, power scope automotive probe, a PP100 for those who want to know. This is a handy little tool, and it's a digital tachometer. Again, not very expensive, and what you do is you put a small amount of white paint or a white sticker on a flywheel or something that is rotating and aim it. It's got a little laser light here So you aim the laser light at the white dot as it's spinning, and it'll read out here how many RPM. Ideal setting up carburetors, when you're doing the timing, all that sort of thing. Just a job. We have a simple little code reader here. Shows live data. Wasn't very expensive. This is made in 2016. Works with most vehicles. Won't work with very old vehicles. If you just need to read a code, or erase a code, or see the live data. Nice little tool for that. Inexpensive, and it comes with your OBD codes as well that you can load into your PC, so you know. Although it does explain to you what they are in there, it also explains to you on the DVD as well. Next thing I've got in here, a little wooden box which keeps it safe. Got a little oscilloscope. Only a cheap Handtech, this one, but it's ideal for small jobs, and it does actually work. Works in conjunction with a PC or a laptop. And I've got it so that it's usable with my little tiny laptop that I could take anywhere. 8-channel, and I've got boxes and boxes of cables that go with it as well, and of course the software. This is the little laptop I've got. It's more of a little tablet. That goes just about anywhere with me when I need to go and do diagnostics. Has got several diagnostic programs on there. Oh yes, and with the oscilloscope, amp clamps, high current amp clamp and low current amp clamp. Very, very handy to have. That's them. When I first started, I had these sort of things. An Elm 327, which works in conjunction with the PC. Old technology now, with OBD2. That one's a Bluetooth one. Again, I've got another little Bluetooth one here, an Elm 327 again, and never actually used this one. This one was given to me. This one fixed. I was given this one by a friend. Used it a couple of times, but I have very poor Wi-Fi signal in the garage, and you need a good Wi-Fi signal to run this, so I don't use it very much in the garage, only when I'm close to the house. My interface, which I bought quite a few years ago. It is Bluetooth, works in conjunction with a couple of different programs I have in there, and then I bought some leads and things to go with it. These are adapters. These things, big adapters, they all go to the standard port size, so you can plug them in. All different shapes, sizes, for different vehicles. Again, a must-have if you've got a scan tool and you need to work on something slightly different. I've got my snap-on verus, touchscreen, got all the keys for it here. All the keys that I'd need. There's leads in the top for the oscilloscope, and of course to connect it to the OBD2 ports. And I keep meaning to put this in. I have this one which is for the Land Rover, Range Rover, so that can live in there now. I had this a little while, used it quite a bit so far on 4 or 5 different vehicles. Very, very useful, and I'll keep going. It's a bit cumbersome, and the battery doesn't last too long, but I'm looking into getting another battery for it. And that's about it for my diagnostic equipment. I don't think I've missed anything out. I hope you've enjoyed this and had a look to see what I've actually got and what I use. For most home gamers, one of these and a test light, and you can't go wrong. That's where to start, and once you get conversant with it, the more and more stuff you'll want. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week with something a little bit different. I have got a new camera coming at some point, and maybe that'll make a difference so that people can see better what I'm actually doing. And thank you ever so much for watching, and all the best, and bye now.